falling prices that can slash profits for all businesses, not just banks. And that could undermine a weak recovery that the ECB is trying to revive. Guy Henderson, CCTV, Berlin.
And now Michelle joins us again to tell us some of the latest comments from other central banks. Hi there, Michelle. Tell us, what did they say?
Well, let's start with the U.S. The U.S. Federal Reserve says in its latest Beige Book that the American economy expanded at a modest pace in July and August. The report comes ahead of the Fed's meeting later this month to consider rising interest rates. Canada's central bank has held its key lending rate at 0.5%. The bank also signaled hope for an economic rebound in the coming months. The Canadian economy suffered its biggest decline in 7 years this year on dismal exports and a disruption of oil production caused by massive wildfires. Bank of England Governor Mark Carney has dismissed accusations of exaggerating Brexit's economic risks to Britain. Carney insists that the action taken since the EU exit vote has reduced recession risks. Back to you, Guanxin.
Thank you very much, Michelle. It seems we're really facing a very complicated situation. And Chinese investment firm Primavera Capital and Alibaba's Ant Financial have purchased a $460 million stake in Yum China as Yum prepares to spin off the business next month. The deal gives Primavera, led by former Goldman Sachs China head Fred Hu, a significant slice of Yum China's business, which includes KFC and Pizza Hut. It also expands the reach of Ant Financial, which operates Alibaba's Alipay mobile payments platform and has been expanding into China's restaurant sector. And our reporter Martina Fuchs sat down with Hu has become a non-executive chairman of Yum China's board, to talk about the company's new business plans.
Well, the key rationale for us to invest in Yum China is we believe in its exciting growth potential. As you know, Yum China is already the single largest restaurant company in this country. Altogether, Pizza Hut and KFC combined is over 7,000 restaurants across the country. They have the iconic brands, well known by Chinese consumers. So they have the scale and the size. More urbanization and steady increase in disposable income. There's also opportunity to expand the footprint, by opening new restaurants. The density, even in cities like Beijing and Shanghai, say the number of restaurants per 1,000 residents or per square kilometer space. The density is still very, very low.
Yum China hit several roadblocks in recent years, including food safety scandals and bird flu outbreaks. In terms of innovation, how are you going to tap into the mobile payment services, for example?
Yum China has the opportunity to to set a very high standard for the whole industry, for the whole market, to continue to win the trust of Chinese consumers. Our partner, Ant Financial, is the leader, not here in China, but probably globally. So we're going to aggressively invest in the Digital platform. So from online ordering our food to delivery to digital payment, cashless transaction, to social media to enhance customer experience and to deepen the engagement with the Yum brands and the food offerings provided by Yum restaurants across the country.
The spin-off is expected on October the 31st, with Yum China to start trading on the New York Stock Exchange a day later. A lot of investors are concerned, though, about the economic slowdown in China, the market volatility. What is your reply to them?
The engine of economic growth has evolved from fixed asset investment, infrastructure, heavy industry, steel, towards more consumption and services. So if this transition continues and succeeds, then Yum China stands to gain from this tidal wave of more consumer service economy. So first, the global investors understand that, and there's still a lot of growth opportunity in China, and Yum China will give them the basic exposure to the fast expansion of Chinese middle class.
And now we're heading for another short break coming up on Global Business. Apple unveils its latest iPhone 7 and Apple Watch amid pressure of slowing sales.
Of Wirecast.
Meet China's decision makers and thought leaders. See them in action, hear their views, debate their policies. Meet China's leaders with me. I'm Robert Lawrence Kim.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Welcome back. South Korea's finance ministry says the country's economy is facing a number of downside risks. And that's because the U.S. Federal Reserve is preparing to raise interest rates and the shipping and shipbuilding industries are struggling. The ministry said it also worries that growth could be constrained by lengthy strikes at domestic automakers after Hyundai Motor workers rejected a wage deal last month. Meanwhile, Japan's Cabinet Office said Thursday that the country's economy grew faster in the second quarter than initially estimated. Japan slightly revised its second quarter GDP to 0.7% and some policy this month. And that's
before the BOJ as well as the U.S. Fed meetings coming up later this week. Now, for more on the latest trading details, Mayu Yoshida joins us live in Tokyo. Hi there, Mayu. Take it away, please.
Wirecast.
Hi there, Michelle. Actually, Japanese stocks extended losses today. The GDP figures were revised up just a little bit, but that didn't help market sentiment. The analysts are saying that the Japanese economy is still lacking momentum in the current quarter because export is still weak and so is factory output and consumer spending. And this will put more pressure for Japanese Prime Minister and the Bank of Japan governor as they're putting a lot of effort in reviving the economy, trying to lift the country out of deflation. And especially for the BOJ, the report came out before its monthly meeting, so there was a lot of focus on that report as well. And sector-wise, financials are there's been a lot of selling going on in financials, and that really pressured the markets today. Investors actually started selling financials after comments came out from Bank of Japan Deputy Governor Hiroshi Nakaso, who said the BOJ will not rule out deepening of negative interest rates, and that policy is already squeezing profits of banks, so that's why we saw a lot of selling going on in financials. Meanwhile, we saw buying kicking into Murata Manufacturing and Alps Electric, and they are both major suppliers to Apple. So there's a lot of hopes that the new iPhone 7 will sell well and impact their earnings in Japan as well. Michelle.
So the overnight announcement of the latest iPhone seems to have also impacted Japan. What's that all about?
Well, Michelle, people in Japan woke up to the exciting news of the iPhone 7, and the new features aside, the biggest announcement in Japan was definitely the comeback of the legendary Nintendo game Super Mario Brothers, and you can watch that actually on the smartphone. And this was certainly a surprise to the markets, and investors are betting that the new game called Super Mario Run to be another global hit for the Japanese company following the smash hit of the Pokemon Go. And Apple will welcome Mario in its App Store this coming December. So Nintendo shares really surged on this news. It surged 13% today, and shares of a popular Japanese internet firm DeNA also saw boosts in its shares on this report by 10% because it'll jointly develop the smartphone game with Nintendo. So it was